This video is not for persons under the age of 13. By watching this video, you are declaring that you are above 13 years of age. Hello and welcome to today's artwork video. I'm going to be painting this scene, which has been kindly given to me from a reference photo by chrissycanvasart, and it's going to be an acrylic on watercolour paper, and I'll more than likely do this in stages in several different videos. I don't know exactly how many yet, but we'll see how that goes. The paper I'm using today is a 300 grams or 140 pound watercolour paper, and that's cold press. It's not got very much texture to it. It's I would say a knot level of texture, which is halfway between smooth and rough. And I don't really know where I'm going with the particular painting. I don't know whether I want to do it very tight and very detailed or very loose. We'll see how that goes. It might be a combination of both. We'll let the painting dictate to me where it's going to go today. But the first thing we want to do is blocking some colour into the painting. So that's what we'll do now. What we need to do first is figure out where our light is coming from. Now, having looked at the reference image, I think it's coming like down like that, almost straight down, but more off to the left. So it's coming down that way. So things underneath are going to be quite dark, but it's going to be fairly light for most things, especially things facing towards the light. So we'll take that into account, but we'll make a start with getting this background area done first, because I like to get my backgrounds done and work towards myself, and that's how I'm going to do it. To start with, I've got some white, I've got this yellow, like a lemony yellow, and a tiny little bit of red. I'm going to mix those two, and I've got some spare yellow there. But what I'm going to do is mix these together and then add it to this white, so we've got a very pale yellowish orange. So I'll do that. They're the three colours I want to work with to start with, and obviously skies are generally blue, but we'll see how these interact with the rest of the colour. So when I'm doing it with acrylics, I want it to be very light to start with. So I'm going to just tapping off some, and we're almost doing what we would do with watercolour. In fact, it's exactly the same procedure. And bring that down like that. And while we're at it, we're going to bring an essence of that across there. Now, because light's coming that way, it's going to be lighter that side than this side of the hill, so I'm going to strengthen that a little bit, and trying to avoid my cows now because we're coming down into where the cows are. But it don't really matter because it's all going to be gone over. Acrylic's good in the sense that you can like cover over stuff after. You wouldn't particularly want to do this if you were doing a watercolour, for example. Right, so I'm going to as you get closer to where you are, things become more vibrant in colour, so I'm just going to get a little bit of that and then go to this darker and start edging that in. And you're saying here that's really strong, but by the time we've done you'll barely see any of the orange. So, and I also want to, everything that I do here, this bit here downward is the canal or river or stream or whatever it is, so I'm always going to put a little bit of that in it. Just try and get that in there. And there we go. As you can see, majority of that is done. So it's just a matter of now waiting until the see if I can put little strands and things like that, just to key it all together. Looks as though this is long grass here, so the cow itself, that one, is like surrounded in grass, very long grass or reeds or whatever they are. So right, that's that done for the time being. We'll let these things dry and we'll move on to the next phase. Next we've got some cerulean blue and a little bit of white. We're going to mix that together and we're going to start getting the sky in and some of the bluey areas of the painting. Now blue tends to be a cool that pushes back, so I'm going to concentrate most of my bluer areas at the back of there and then bring that more down to a green and then less and less as we get closer. But that's what I'm thinking about doing, so who knows. I mean, I'm not an acrylic artist as such. I dabble in acrylics, but we can have a go at these things, can't we? Just want to make that watery. Right, remembering that light's coming from that kind of direction, so this area is going to be lighter than this. So I'm going to work. This is the hill. There's some trees here, and I'm going to like that. and I'll just make sure that those trees are mostly covered like that. We can bring them back in later, it's not a big deal. See if I can get that to be a bit more I just want a fairly clear blue sky today with this one. I'm not really bothered about fluffy clouds up here, because all that will do is bring your attention up here, and it really isn't the key part of the painting. The obvious key part is here. So what we can now do is add some of that and start making a very, very mild green for there. And although it's get a little bit of that yellow in, because we don't want strong colours in the background. It just doesn't work like that. So we've got a fairly flat backdrop like that. And now we can start being a bit more colourful. As we get closer. And this going down here is going to be a lot darker. We can express that later on in the image. And if you're uncomfortable with a large brush, although it covers a lot of area very fast, move on to a smaller brush if you need to for these detailed areas. I'm fairly confident with brushes, so I use pretty big brushes, and that helps me to get paintings done a lot quicker and with a lot more brush strokey kind of feel, you know, a looser feel, because when you paint with brushes that are large, it kind of forces you into being a lot more brush strokey and loose, which is a good thing sometimes. So we are starting to get some colour in there. What I will do at this moment in time is I'm going to get my blue. I'm going to get some more yellow, and I'm going to add another blue, which is a darker blue. This is a ultramarine blue, which will make that, I get a bit of, get some more of that yellow. Might take a bit of that orange as well. And we've got a darker colour for the foreground. Now, it's not going to be this dark, but this is just the backdrop for it, because we're going to repaint over it with some lighter tones. again I'm trying to go around the edge of these cows. And again, when necessary, because of the reflection, bring a bit of the colours that you're using in it. Always try to remember to do that, and it gives it that level of realism. Right, well, for this moment in time, we're not that far off doing it. What I will do is use up this paint that we've got, and get some tonal values in for the foreground cow here. Now the cow is like a gingery kind of colour, so I'm just gonna, this is not its final end colour, but I'm just really blocking it in with some values if I possibly can. Noting that light's coming from quite a bit above, that means the top ends of the cow is going to be quite light. And for the time being, that bit there I'm going to leave white anyway, but let's just see if I can emphasise the fact that there's certain parts of this cow that is in the shade. And yeah, I'm not using colours that you might think are normal, but this will add to it tonally later on when we put the glazes of real colour, if you want to call it that, over it. And again, it's you don't really see the actual thing itself. We'll work at that later. That's something we're just blocking in at the moment. So again, these cows are all in the distance, so I'm not going to be doing too much faffing with it. I'm just going to suggest it. That's got a white, the only dark bit is that. And then again, a white head, the eyes dark. I'll take that over like that, and then Most of this cow here is in the shade, apart from its head. So I'll just paint that, get some value in, and then we're almost blocked in. Bit of that there. Again, the cow has a white head, and because light's coming from there, it's going to be light to start with there. Most of that though will be fairly dark, and see if I can get a little bit of glisten up there. Maybe that's what that needs there. And then to finish these bits off, the dark bits. Bits like that. Bit of a thing there. Don't know what that is. But as far as I'm concerned at the moment, let's just get a few, I don't know, it's like straggly things there. Puts a bit of foreground. I'm going to let that dry, and then it's time to start getting a bit more focused in on various areas. Oh, I tell a slight lie. I forgot that I've got to get me trees on the hill worked in. Start suggesting trees on the hill. In the original reference work, there aren't, you can't, it doesn't go above there, so I'm adding this as extra bits of information to the painting, and I'm trying not to be overly detailed with it, because again it's like they're a considerable distance away, some of these things. Yeah, and at this moment in time I'm happy with where that is. We've got quite a few of the values in, we've blocked it all out. It's time to start building on what we've got already, and we'll do that in our next video. So we'll see you the next time. Bye for now.